Hi guys, so I'm sitting here with my best friend Wendy O'Sullivan, and if you don't know me, I'm Michelle Hammer from Schizophrenic NYC, and if you know my story at all, I talk about how I thought my best friend was trying to kill me, and that's how I figured out that I realized something was up when I was in college. All through high school, I had this really crazy paranoid delusion that my mother was trying to kill me. Every time she went to try to get me to a therapist or anything, because she knew something wasn't right, I always thought she was trying to ruin my life. So when I went to college, I thought I was free of her and everything was great, and then all of a sudden my best friend, my roommate, I started thinking the exact same things about her. So realizing that I had the problem was like the start of the entire thing. And here I am right now with Miss Wendy O'Sullivan that pretty much, I guess, changed my life forever, and I wanted to have a discussion with her about, how she changed my life and how she knew that I was schizophrenic before I even knew. So we're chatting, right, Wendy?
We're chatting.
We're chatting. So let's get into basically the questions that I have for Wendy about, my life. How do you feel knowing that I thought you were trying to kill me?
Okay, so it wasn't something that I was actively aware of. It was something that you brought to me after you didn't have those feelings anymore, or you already knew that it wasn't plausible. So I was never defensive about it. I was never I never felt like you were accusing me of something. It was honestly kind of funny because we were well, that's ridiculous. I only care about you. I only ever want to support you. So when you told me that, it was just kind of mostly I felt like I wanted you to know that I was in your corner.
Yeah. So you were never trying to kill me.
I never did.
We're just gonna put it out there. You were absolutely never trying to kill me.
I never did try.
You never tried to kill me. When did you think that I might have some sort of mental illness? Being my college roommate, we were in that tiny little room together. Did you think something was up?
Yes. And also, so I met Michelle in high school, and we had only hung out together a few times. We weren't spending a lot of time together at that time. It wasn't until college that we were together every day. Obviously we were living together, and at that time there were some times I feel like for a while you were sleeping a lot during the day, and I think that's when I first started to wonder if something was up.
Yeah.
We talked about you possibly being bipolar, and there was a lot of times through freshman year that I was aware of the fact that you were either on medication or experimenting with medication to see what was right. I was okay, well, I'm sleeping all day because X medication is making me feel like a zombie. So we're gonna supplement it with this other medication, and then maybe we'll see what the combination does. But maybe that one made you hyper, or that one made you zone out or something. You knew that there was something up. But I think I was in a little bit of denial, or I was just well, this is just how Michelle is.
Yeah. What did Kate think? Our other roommate.
Kate was more concerned about it. So Kate always knew maybe something's up, and she would bring it to me, and I would be no, it doesn't matter. That's just Michelle. This is how Michelle is.
I see. So Kate was the one, because Kate knew me less than what you knew me.
Right.
So Kate was the one kind of saying this behavior is a little more, abnormal, but you thinking you knew me from the past, oh no, that's just how she acts, that's just the way she is, but her not having that experience with me before, she was kind of what's the deal here? What's going on?
Yeah.
When I know that you knew that I had a cutting problem, and at one point you took all the razor blades that I got from my art classes, you took all the scissors that we had, all the razors that we had, and you put it in a lockbox. Why did you decide to make that decision?
That was my way of protecting you. So I figured if I can limit the access to these devices that you're using to hurt yourself with, then maybe I can prevent something bad from happening.
I think that was a very good idea.
I think it was a good idea, but I would say that now being an adult, I was we were 17, 18 years old, and I just didn't really know what to do with the situation at all. And I would say that if anyone that's watching this that knows someone that's in danger or is in danger themselves, tell an adult. it's okay to get help for that.
So that first visit to the psych ward that I had after that night of the keeping it classy night that we had, where we all got in tons of trouble, and then I ended up, the whole fight with a cop, that was a fun time. And then I was supposed to, have like that 72-hour hold, and they let me out the next day, and I was told by, the mental health director or whatever at our college that they'd be having a thing at noon. So I was let out, and I go back to the dorm, and I know you guys had a meeting, so I went up back to the dorm room, and I re-straightened my hair, I fixed my makeup, I made sure I looked good, and I walked into that meeting and was like, hey everybody, how you doing? I mean, how do you remember this meeting at all? Because I'll never forget it, because it was so like traumatizing in my mind to walk into a meeting and everyone was talking about me.
Yeah.
Do you remember that meeting?
I remember the meeting itself. I have no idea. This was 10 years ago. I have no idea what was said in the meeting. And I remember feeling like, I think just maybe relief that like there was someone who was giving me advice, because I just really didn't have any idea how to deal with the situation. I was clueless. So anyone saying like, you have this XYZ resource was a relief to me. But I do remember feeling concerned that you were feeling so on the spot. And I was worried about that.
I remember I was sitting next to Kate, and I'm just going, get me out of here. Get me out of here. And she started just going, I'm hungry. Can we leave now? I'm hungry. And I'm like, Kate, just get us out of here. She goes, I'm hungry. Can we go now? I'm hungry. And I'm like, keep going, Kate, keep going, please, get us out of here, please.
She was always good with those.
She was good with that, it's time to go, I know. And I remember that mental health director, I was supposed to go, I had a meeting that day to go meet with like the sports psychologist. Like, I didn't go with him in his car, and I just walked there myself. And I remember you said or something that he came up to our dorm room asking where I was, and they were like, she left.
Yeah, I have no memory of that.
Yeah, I remember that happened. I was like, I'm not going with him in his car. F him, I'm going. I'm just leaving. I'll walk through the snow. I don't want to go in his freaking car, please. Kidding me? Did you ever have like a conversation about my mental health?
Kate and I definitely talked about it. And like I said before, Kate was the one who was really like pushing it. Like, are you sure? Like, do you think like, something can be up? I saw her talking to herself or whatever. And I'd be like, no, that's just how Michelle is. And I think maybe like and also like this was 10 years ago again. Mental health was even more stigmatized then than it is now. So I think in a way that was me defending you. You know what I mean? To be like, no, she's fine. Which like you're fine, but you're schizophrenic too.
Right, exactly. I always tell the story of telling like my 3 best friends from college that I was schizophrenic, and we had that dinner, we were at McFadden's, remember McFadden's? And I'm sitting there and I go, guys, I just found that I was schizophrenic. And then I turn to the right and Kate tells me, isn't that what you had the whole time? Hassan says, that couldn't have been more obvious. And then you go, yeah, we told you that. How did you know?
So the signs were all there. Like even in my like denials, it was just plain to see because it really wasn't until our senior year that you really started like engaging with the voices. And so at that time we would come into like the living room and maybe we would catch Michelle alone and she'd be having like a really emphatic conversation with herself. So it would be like lots of mouthing, like hand gestures, sometimes you'd be laughing, like and if we ever said like, who are you talking to, Hammer? It would be like, oh, I'm just imagining a conversation. And I think I chalked that up to like a situation where like it was always after a day that you were like stressed or you said it on something that was like the worst. And so I chalked it up to being a situation where like, when you're like, I should have said this, and you're like imagining it in your mind, because I think that's something really relatable, and a lot of people will ruminate over that.
I see.
So to me, I thought you were just like really in it and like really focused on it.
But you did pretty much know.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
so
was just-
so once you told us, it was like, yeah, actually, that all tracks. it wasn't a shock to us. It wasn't something that we were like, oh my god, now like we don't know how to feel about you. It was just like we already accepted this as who you are, and so it was kind of like, all right, so like what are we doing this weekend? It wasn't like, you know, it was like, okay, moving on. Like not
moving on.
yeah, like we wanted to know more about your diagnosis, but I'm just pointing to the fact that it wasn't something that was a shock to us.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much. You're my best friend.
I love you, girl.
Thank you. And thank you for making this video with me.
I'm happy to do it.
Bye, guys.